Hello everybody and welcome back to Greg Reviews Sci-Fi. I'm Greg and today we're going to review The Catarian Affair by Timothy Best. Stay to the end of this video to learn how you can win this book, plus a little something special I'm going to show you a little bit later. All right, let's get into this. The story follows Alex Tucker, a member of the FBI, on an undercover mission. The undercover mission was especially difficult, and he decides to leave the FBI. He then gets a job as the Dune Island sheriff, and it's kind of a small touristy island with a military base on it. On this military base, he meets Eleanor Ingle. Now, hopefully you can put two and two together and know that things aren't exactly as they seem. Eleanor and her father are scientists on this military base. Alex and Eleanor fall deeply in love. Now, this could be the most important relationship in human history, or it could be the most dangerous. That's what this book is about. Before I get started with the review, I always like to cover why I chose this book. Was it the cover art? Was it an author I was familiar with? Did I find it on the street corner? Why did I pick this particular book? And the reason I chose this book is because Timothy Best, the author, is a friend of a friend. Now, Timothy did reach out to me, offer me the book for free, which I did accept. He sent me a PDF version of this book. But about chapter 2, I decided I needed to buy this book, one for me to keep in my Kindle library and the paperback to give away to you. So I guess it was kind of like buy two, get one free. I'm not really sure that this worked out in my best interest, but it's going to work out in your best interest. Let's get started with this review. Earlier in this video, I mentioned that not only will you win the book, but you will win a little something special. That something special is a poster of the image I took for this review, where I'm going to fill in the stars, I'm going to fill in the rating, I'm going to roll it up, I'm going to send it to you with the book. So it should be fun. Hopefully I don't mess it up during this video. If I do, there's only one, only ever making one. There can be only one of one. All right, let's start out with story. The story is really the crown jewel of this book, as it should be. And it's not super sci-fi, which we're going to get into later. I mean, it is sci-fi. There's aliens, there's a spaceship, there's weird technology and abilities. So there's definitely sci-fi related stuff. But this is really a boy meets girl story. As a matter of fact, the antagonist of the book doesn't even really start to become apparent until maybe a little past midway, maybe 3/4 in. But right about 3/4, the sci-fi stuff really starts to like hit home, right? There's some crazy stuff. You start to understand what's going on and who the aliens are, where they come from, what they're doing. But really the thing that impacted me the most is the ending. The ending was so true to the story that I was disgruntled walking around my house for several days. I even sent an email to Tim Best and said, I really love the book, but come on with the ending. But just because I wanted it to turn out a certain way doesn't mean it was right for the story. And the ending was absolutely right for the story. And now that I think back about the ending, it couldn't be better. So for story, I'm giving it 4.5 stars, which is a very high rating for story for me. You can't have a great story without great characters, and the two main characters in this story are Alex Tucker and Eleanor Engel. And what's really crazy is you get to see the two individuals develop in completely different ways. Alex goes from, I want to come to Dune Island to kind of reconnect with my mom, who works on the military base, have a slower pace of life. Where Eleanor, she really has her own mission, and she has really high standards and really high expectations. And what happens is she really goes through this transformation of figuring out how can she both do what's right and also be with Alex. It's really powerful. It's amazingly sweet. When you read it, you really are rooting for them as a couple. And I think that anytime you read one of these romance books, which I don't do a ton, but there's a ton of great kind of sci-fi romances. And whenever it's too crazy, it's not relatable. And Alex is so relatable. You think I could be going through this exact same thing were I in his shoes. And I think that's where Timothy Best really shined, is understanding the perspectives of the two characters. It's not so far out there that it's unbelievable, but it's far enough out there that it's still sci-fi. So for characters, I also gave it 4.5 stars, which is really high. Next is pace. About 20% into this book, we get into the love story, which is great. We have to first kind of set the stage of Alex and Eleanor. About 50% of the book, right at the middle point, you start to really kind of understand what's going on. Who is Eleanor? Who is Alex? Who are the people on the base? What's kind of going on? And about 70% is where the sci-fi stuff kind of starts really happening. But I did find myself wondering, maybe about 50% through the book, like, when is the sci-fi going to happen? Because so far, this is just like a slightly different romance book. And it did pick up kind of, like I said, around 70%. And then the last 30%, I was flipping. And it's one of those where right at about that 60 to 70% mark, it's hard to put down. So for pace, I gave it about 3.5 stars because I feel like we could have got to some sci-fi stuff earlier. We could have maybe seen Eleanor's perspective a little bit sooner, and then we could have dipped quicker into sci-fi, if that makes sense. So 3.5 stars for pace. All right, on to originality. The Catarian Affair is an original story with original characters, and it had a lot of things in it that I had never run across. For one, I had never read a First Contact story where it was so believable and so real. The realism in this book is incredible. I don't know if it's just the way Timothy describes the scenarios, if it's how he articulates how Alex and Eleanor feel, but it really grounds this book in reality and makes you think, holy cow, if we had a First Contact scenario, it could go down just like this. And normally I read these First Contact scenarios and I think, oh my gosh, what is it, like an implant in your brain, or it's like we get bombed from orbit or something like that. This was subtle and complex and thought through and planned. And I really enjoyed the dedication to realism. And it's probably the most realistic First Contact story that I've read probably ever. And it just so happens that I see in the news that there might be a galactic federation. So maybe this is how it's done. Timothy Best, do you know something? Do you know something about the Galactic Federation? Tell us in the comments. For originality, I give this book 4 stars. Now, the final category is technology. If you're looking for a high-tech sci-fi book, this is probably not the book for you. Like I said, it's a love story with a first contact wrapper. That's not to say there's not some cool technology in this book, but it mostly is around biology and advancement in medicine and advancement in evolution and things like that. The Catarians are much more advanced than humans, and they've received some biological upgrades along the way. They also have starships, but they have limitations in their technology as well. So it kept it really grounded, but there was no lightsaber moment. There was no, the first Stargate. I shouldn't say Stargate because it wasn't the first, but there was no invention of new technology. It was just science fiction technology that exists applied appropriately in the story. When books apply sci-fi technology in a normal way and don't invent anything or don't add to the technology in some meaningful way, then we just split it down the middle at 2.5 stars. That makes our total rating for the Catarian Affair 3.8 stars, which is really great. I really enjoyed the Catarian Affair. It was a love story without being too graphic, and it was a nice change of pace from the standard space opera and military sci-fi that I read over and over and over and over again. I absolutely recommend picking up this book. I think any sci-fi reader will love this. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got some action. It's got obviously love scenes. It's got some tech. It's got some biology. It's got a lot going for it. And I think once you read this story and you hit that ending, if you don't shed a tear, then I'll be surprised, because I definitely shed a tear. If you'd like to buy the Catarian Affair, please use my Amazon affiliate link in the description. You can also go to gregreviewsci-fi.com, click the store link, and I have an Amazon affiliate store where I weed through all of the science fiction available on Amazon, and I list the books that I have read and books that I love. So if you're looking for a book and the Catarian Affair is not for you, and you want to find something new, just go to Greg Reviews Sci-Fi, click store, and sort through the books that I have listed, and I know you will find one that you will like. All right, so how do you win this poster and this book? Okay, first, sign it for you. All right, to win my copy of the Catarian Affair and this one-of-a-kind poster of a photograph that I took of this book and the rating, all you have to do is be the first person to comment, "Everyone should subscribe to this channel." Just go into the comments and say, "Everyone should subscribe to this channel." I will pin your comment, and that's how you know you just won my copy of the Catarian Affair and this one-of-one poster. I can't wait to see your comments. Please hit the thumbs up if you like this video. Please hit subscribe. You can find me at Greg Reviews Sci-Fi on all social media. I'm very excited to get back to doing reviews. If you've stuck with me this whole time, then I totally appreciate it. And maybe you will be the one who wins the book and the poster. Every single video from now on, I'll be giving away a book and a poster. But of course, the way you win it will be different. It's not going to be that easy. You have to wait. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.